name is Finnegan O'Brien.
Hi, I'm Rishabh Russell.
And today is April 25th, 2019.
And this is 4 News.
Have you guys ever heard of computing using quantum physics? To start today's broadcast, quantum physicists at Penn State have just made it possible to accurately compute technology using quantum mechanics.
On March 25th, 2019, quantum physicists at Penn State University have created a new method that allows extremely accurate measurements of the quantum state of atomic qubits, the basic unit of information in quantum computers, to be measured with 20 times less error than was previously possible without losing any atoms in the process. Accurately measuring qubit states, which are 0 states, 1 states, or 0 and 1 states, at the same time is a vital step in the development of quantum computers.
To measure qubit states, the team first uses lasers to cool and trap about 160 atoms. Then, the team uses lasers to trap all the atoms. The scientists then rotate the laser beams, which shifts atoms to the left and to the right. If an atom starts in both states at the same time, it ends up having moved to the left and having moved to the right. They then tightly trap the atoms in their new shifted positions. The measurement of each atom's position is equivalent to a measurement of each atom's initial qubit state.
The team determined the accuracy of their new method. They were able to accurately measure atom states with an accuracy rate of 0.9994 out of 1, meaning there were only 6 errors in 10,000 measurements, a huge improvement on the previous methods. Here's Movavi at Penn State reporting the latest.
Thanks, Finnegan. I have just spoken to David Weiss, a quantum physicist at Penn State. He says our method is similar to the Stirring-Gerlach experiment from the 1922 experiment. That is integral to the history of quantum physics. When Stirring and Gerlach saw half the atoms deflect up and half down, it confirmed the idea of quantum superposition, where one qubit can be a 1 and a 0 state at the same time. In our experiment, we mapped the internal quantum states of atoms onto positions, but we can do it on an atom-by-atom basis. This is what makes our method very accurate. That is the latest on the story. Back to you, Finnegan and Rochelle.
Thanks, Movavi. The reason why quantum physicists at Penn State have done this is because with this method, people can create and use technology that can reprogram itself to be better, to progress self-driving cars and to increase the speed of solving equations with these new advancements in quantum computing. The speed of computing will increase drastically.
In conclusion, Penn State University's quantum physicists have successfully created a new method that could change the world forever.
Did you know that crystals cannot form from peanut butter and coal? Next up, we have breaking news on Christopolis, a so-called utopia that supposedly has crystals all over the place. It turns out that it's a hoax utopia that has devastated citizens all over its region.
This is what Christopolis is supposed to look like, a perfect place with crystals all over the place. But reporters have said that it's the exact opposite. They have said it's an abandoned town with a lot of coal that is covered with peanut butter, and citizens who are devastated. Here's Chris with the latest on this developing story.
Thanks, Finnegan and Rishabh. This is Christopolis, a so-called utopia that is in a wreckage. Just recently, on March 23, 2019, Christopolis' opening day, critics have reported that Christopolis is a hoax utopia. People around the world were caught in awe when they realized that Christopolis was fake. As you can see behind me, the entire city is mostly deserted and drenched with peanut butter. The reason why this happened is because the science of the creation of crystals has more processes that must take place than with what happens with coal and peanut butter. Here's John, a Christopolis citizen who has stayed behind. Can you tell me how you feel being one of the only ones left in this devastated city?
Well, I honestly feel alone and scared. There's very few supplies left, and I don't know how long I will have to be here until I have to move. I do not have any communication with the people of Christopolis. I'm just trying to survive.
What do you think about moving to a city that you thought was paradise, but is a hoax instead?
It feels weird, honestly. I thought it was safe, and that I had finally found a home, but now I feel like I was in a trance the whole time. Turns out the people were very selfish, and when suddenly the city was not safe, they didn't do anything to help the city.
Why did you decide to stay here instead of leaving like most others?
Instead of being selfish, I wanted to help the city and make it better. People couldn't see that, and they thought of themselves instead of what was good for the city. I love the city so much that I couldn't just let it die.
How are you surviving this disaster?
Well, I am just gathering all my supplies, belongings, and necessities, and using them to help me get through this devastation. I am almost running out of water and food to eat, so I have to limit myself while eating. I'm getting weaker by the days.
I'm sorry to hear that, John, but with limited supplies, I wanted to ask, what are you going to do next?
I might have to leave soon with all my supplies getting low. I'll have to gather all my belongings and leave. With living conditions getting worse, I have to move someplace else.
Thank you, John, for all of your time.
It was my pleasure.
Now back to you, Finnegan and Rashab.
Thanks, Chris. Recent studies have actually shown the reason how this doesn't work. Even though coal and crystals both have the element carbon in them, you need time, heat, and pressure to turn coal into crystals. And peanut butter only provides the pressure, not the heat and time needed to form crystals.
In conclusion, you guys now know that Christopolis isn't a city that is a utopia, but a city with a huge devastation and no crystals at all. Christopolis is a city with a lot of coal that is covered with peanut butter. Lastly, you guys know that Christopolis is a huge city that is mostly uninhabitable.
Have you ever heard from someone who has been hypnotized by a disembodied brain? Last but not least of today's broadcast, we have an interview with Charles Wallace, one of the main characters in A Wrinkle in Time. Here's a Luby with Charles Wallace.
Thanks, Finnegan and Rashab. Here's Charles Wallace, one of the main characters from A Wrinkle in Time. Thanks, Charles, for joining us today. I have a few questions that I would like to ask you. First off, what did you feel as you were taken into it?
I felt it grabbing on my brain and pulling me in. I was in a lot of pain. I tried resisting, but it was too strong. It didn't keep its promise of letting me go when I wanted to. I was losing myself to it. The truth is, it didn't fully get me. I was still there, yet I couldn't control myself. I felt as I was a puppet.
If you could remake your decision of going into it on purpose, what would you do?
First of all, I would have stayed with Malcolm Calvin. Later, I would just realize that my fatal fall was hubris. I didn't realize that the Mrs. W's meant that they warned me about being exposed to the most danger and about all of us sticking together. That is the decision I would make on my journey.
What will you do differently in your later life?
Well, I would not be so proud of myself, and I will learn to accept my mistakes. Like Asgid Habelwood said, no one and nothing is perfect, or we won't have uniqueness. With that quote in mind, I won't have too much pride in myself. I like that word, uniqueness. It means relating to, or belonging to a single person.
What is your suggestions to the audience, Charles Wallace?
Well, my message to the audience is that to not have too much pride in yourself, as it could lead to foolish decisions in your later life. To always be unique and embrace it, as it could show you that you accept your mistakes because it makes you, you. And to always love, as it could help you through tough times.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace, for all your time. I hope you have a good day. Back to you, Finnegan and Rashab.
Thanks, Alubi. You guys now know about Charles Wallace from A Wrinkle in Time.
Well, there you have it. You know about the recent developments in quantum computing, the hoax utopia Christopolis, and you know about Charles Wallace from A Wrinkle in Time.
I hope you guys have a great day and join us tomorrow on Channel 21 at noon.
That's all for today on 4 News.